Hi, crew. If you have not been over yet to Seesaw and seen my very beautiful painting, you need to stop and pause and go do that first before we start our reading for today. If you have already done that, then stay here and off we go. I bet you're wondering why we got to look at a painting before we got to do our reading today. I wanted you to think about how are painters like writers? We've talked about this before, but I want you to think about that painting that we just saw. That's by an artist named George Seurat. He is a French Impressionist artist. He painted that painting Saturday or Sunday afternoon in the park. He painted that using dots. He had paper and his paintbrush. I don't have a paintbrush handy, but you're going to pretend with me. He had paper and a paintbrush, and he kept changing his colors. And in order to make his picture, he did dots. All he did was dot, 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 until it started to look like something. Can you imagine how long that must have taken him? Writers are the same way. And the writer, Katherine Applegate, she is our writer for the one and only Ivan. There is her name. She paints with words. George Seurat painted with paint, did all those dots. Katherine paints with words. I have been keeping track as we've been reading about some of the places that she's done this. I don't think I have them all, but these are all chapters that we've already read. When we were reading a chapter about patience, and we were learning that Ivan is a very patient person, or gorilla, in that chapter, Katherine wrote, gorillas are as patient as stones. So can you imagine that? Like a stone? Pretty patient, right? It just sits there and does its thing all day long. The next one, Katherine, our author, was writing about how Ivan looks. And in this particular paragraph, she wrote, "In my sighs, humans see a test of themselves. They hear fighting words on the wind. When all I'm thinking is how the late day sun reminds me of a ripe nectarine." So you can kind of picture that. Katherine wrote those words, and we're kind of thinking about how that late day sun is bright orange in the sky, and Ivan's comparing it. He thinks it's like a ripe tangerine. Here's another one. When he was talking about his domain, Ivan, "A jungle scene is painted on my domain walls. It has a waterfall without water, and flowers without scent, and trees without roots." So automatically in my brain, I'm seeing a portrait that was painted on his wall. It's a waterfall, but there's no water. Flowers are growing, but they don't smell because they're just paintings. And trees that don't have any roots, so they're not deep into the ground, right? This was a good one too. They were again talking about what it was like to be at the Old Top or the mall, and all day, this is what Ivan says, "All day I watch humans scurry from store to store. They pass their green paper, dry as old leaves, and smelling of 1,000 hands, back and forth again." So he never said they give money to each other, right? But we know that's what he's talking about because of the way she painted, Katherine, our author, painted a picture in our brain with her words. And probably this is one of my favorites. Humans are clever indeed. They spin pink clouds that you can eat. And right there, she never said that they're talking about candy, cotton candy, but we know that's what she's talking about, right? Okay, I'm not going to have a long time to read today because I want you to get on to your other work. However, if you hear any things that sound like Katherine, our author, is painting with words, make a note and just think about it and say, well, that's pretty cool. And I'm going to try to stop too if I see any, okay? So if you remember, we are just learning about Ruby. Ruby just arrived, and Stella is Ruby's in Stella's domain with her. Old news. When Julia comes, She sits by Stella's domain and watches the new baby. She barely talks to me. Stella doesn't talk to me either. She's too busy nuzzling Ruby. She is cute, little Ruby, with her ears flapping like palm leaves, but I am handsome and strong. Bob trots a circle around my belly before settling down in just the right spot. Give it up, Ivan, he says. You're old news. Julia gets out a piece of paper and a pencil. I can see that she's drawing Ruby. I move to the corner of my domain to pout. Bob grumbles. He doesn't like it when I disrupt his naps. Homework, Julia's father scolds. Julia sighs and puts her drawing aside. I grunt, and Julia glances in my direction. Poor old Ivan, she says. I've been ignoring you, haven't I? I grunt again. A dignified, indifferent grunt. Julia thinks for a moment, and then she smiles. She walks over to my domain, to the spot in the corner where the glass is broken. She slides paper through. She rolls a pencil across my cement floor. You can draw the baby elephant too, Julia says. I bite the pencil in half with my magnificent teeth, and then I eat some paper. He's not feeling very happy, is he? Tricks. Even after Julia and her father leave, I try to keep sulking, but it's no use. Gorillas are not, by nature, pouters. Stella, I call. It's a full moon. Do you see it? Sometimes, when we are lucky, we catch a glimpse of the moon through the skylight in the food court. I did, Stella said. She is whispering, and I realize that Ruby must be asleep. Is Ruby all right, I ask. She's too thin, Ivan, Stella says. Poor baby. She was in that truck for days. Mac bought her from a circus the same way he bought me, but she hadn't been there long. She was born in the wild like us. Will she be okay, I ask. Stella doesn't answer my question. The circus trainers chained her to the floor, Ivan, all 4 feet, 23 hours a day. I puzzle over why this would be a good idea. I always try to give humans the benefit of the doubt. Why would they do that, I finally ask. To break her spirit, Stella says, so she could learn to balance on a pedestal, so she could stand on her hind legs, so a dog could jump on her back while she walked in mindless circles. I hear her tired voice, and I think of all the tricks Stella has learned. Introductions. I think we have time for this one, maybe 2 more. We'll see. When I awake the next morning, I see a little trunk poking out between the bars of Stella's domain. Hello, says a small, clear voice. I'm Ruby. She waves her trunk. Hello, I say. I'm Ivan. Are you a monkey? Ruby asks. Certainly not. Bob's ears perk up, although his eyes stay closed. He's a gorilla, he says, and I'm a dog of uncertain heritage. Why did the dog climb your tummy? Ruby asks. Because it's there, Bob mumbles. Is Stella awake? I ask. Aunt Stella is asleep, Ruby says. Her foot is hurting, I think. Ruby turns her head. Her eyes are like Stella's, black and long-lashed, bottomless lakes, fringed by tall grass. When is breakfast? She asks. Soon, I say, when the mall opens and when the workers come. Where? Ruby twists her head. In the other direction. Where are all the other elephants? It's just you and Stella, I say, and for some reason I feel I have let her down. Are there more of you? Not at the moment, I say. Ruby picks up a piece of hay and considers. Do you have a mom and dad? Well, I used to. Everyone has parents, Bob explains. It's unavoidable. Before the circus, I used to live with my mom and my aunts and my sister and my cousins, Ruby says. She drops the hay, picks it up, and twirls it. They're dead. I don't know what to say. I'm not really enjoying this conversation, but I can see that Ruby isn't done talking. To be polite, I say, I'm sorry to hear that, Ruby. Humans killed them, she says. Who else? Bob says, and we all fall silent. I want to go back. I highlighted something in the book as I was going through. This is my book. I own this, so I'm allowed to write in it. we were talking about painting a picture with words. Listen to this little paragraph again. Ruby turns her head. Her eyes are like Stella's, black and long-lashed, bottomless lakes fringed by tall grass. So you can just imagine that she has really long eyelashes, and her eyes, the color of her eyes is as deep and dark as a bottomless lake. So really good at painting, right? She's really good at painting pictures with her words, and that's what good authors do. One more quick chapter, Stella and Ruby. All morning, Stella strokes Ruby, pats her, smells her. They flap their ears, they rumble and roar. They sway as if they're dancing. Ruby clings to Stella's tail, and she slips under Stella's belly. Sometimes they just lean into each other, their trunks twirl together like jungle vines. Stella looks so happy. It's more fun to watch than any nature show I've seen on TV. It's a picture of Stella and Ruby. So sweet, right? The way their trunks are intertwined together. All right. I am going to stop right there for today. Did you hear some things that painted some pictures in your brain? I hope so. If you are a good author, that's what you really try to do. So you guys are working on poetry right now, and I know that as a poet, you're trying to paint a picture with words. It's the same as any kind of an author, and it's kind of cool that as we read, we're seeing it. As you're writing, you're doing it. You're going to start seeing it more and more now that you're kind of aware of it. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye.